Hello, you guys. So, welcome to Coverlet Art. Here, I will be teaching you how to draw eyes, um, the way that I do it, just an easy step-by-step process. And I just hope that it helps you guys. And if you did find or take away something from this, please like, share, and follow if you would like to see more. But other than that, let's get into it. So, the first thing I do in order to achieve these eyes or just map out eyes is that I like to draw a rectangle, a general, it can be sloppy as much as you want to, it doesn't really matter. But a general rectangle, right? So here we have a rectangle, and this is pretty much going to be our guide for how tall I want my eyes to be. And if you want, how wide you want your eyes to be as well. So I usually draw a line in between, right dead in the center, or sometimes if I'm doing it from a 3/4 angle, I'll draw the line closer to one side than the other. But for right now, the purpose is we're just going to put it in the smack dead center. And this line represents like the nose, where the nose will be and whatnot. And so you could add this right here if you would like to. Doesn't really have to, it doesn't really matter. So with his eyes, with his eyes portion, this eye part, I like to then draw a circle inside of each box to give me like a good estimate on how wide and how the curvature that I want to make each eye. And then this is where we just get into it, right? So I usually start from the very bottom and then I curve it over the circle all the way to the top of the square of one part, right? And then depending on like if it's male or female, I would like give it a little bit of a wing on this eye right here and bring it back. So yeah, and then that's how you draw the first, like the hood of the eye. And then I usually like thicken it up a little bit. It really depends on how you're feeling. And then I do the same thing, being conscious to like give it some space and also adjust the nose bridge as much as you need to. But I give it enough space, and then I start from the bottom and then I curve it all the way up, and then I give it another wing, and then I thicken the wing and just a little bit. So here, it's not going to be perfect, just keep that in mind. And that's okay, because we're going to go back and then you can go back and make harsher lines, so that can be, so it can just look as good as you would like for it to do. And then so here I typically just draw like a curving line at the bottom of both sides. It's up to you if you would like for it to connect to the top of the eyelid if you would like. I typically don't really like to do that, but that's fine. Here I am going to, just for you guys. It doesn't really matter, it just depends on like your preference. But I try to like lay at least this down when I'm doing eyes because I want to put my eyelashes on it too. Next, we draw an inner circle inside of the eye, inside of both eyes. Do your best to make them as even as possible. Again, this is just a sketch, so it's going to be a little rough at first, but you guys get the general message. All right, so that's how we do that. And then next, we draw the pupils. Pupils in the middle. Now, this is where it starts looking a little weird. but it's okay. This is where we have to see it through. Now, this is where I get from like anime, when I watch anime and manga, read manga books. Then I learned that they would typically have like this huge dramatic like light hit the eye, and it looks like this. So it's just a bigger bubble that's going to remain empty and just bright, just to represent the light that's hitting the eyes. And then there's like this little small, like upside down V shape that kind of curves, that I put towards the center. It really depends. It really doesn't matter. I put towards the center, closer towards the center of the face for each. And so that's how you draw the eye part, right? And then when it comes down to the eyebrows, I draw almost like a mask, kind of from like Mr. and Mrs. Incredible or Batman, whichever one you like to watch. Just like a mask shape. And you're not going to keep this here forever. It's just like for guidance lines. Mask shape. Right? And then depending on how you want your eyebrows, you can have it like box, you can have like curve. Here it's going to be like, mine's going to be like a mixture of like a curve and a box, and it's also dramatic too. So I start by making lines going up, and then they curve over, they curve to the side a little bit, and then they go down right here. And then I'm gonna just like end it right there for the eyebrow, and then the same thing this way, which sometimes is a little hard to do, but it's well worth it. And then you can like erase when you start putting harsher lines on there to make it look more official. This is just a start. And you can go back in, do that. And then we're not done yet. I'm gonna add the eyelashes. So the bottom eyelashes, they're usually just smaller. I have them pretty spread out, probably like 3 or 4 eyelashes. If you want to add more, go for it. Here's 5. And then I do the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then on the top of the eye, you gotta get the eyelashes going. So 1, 2, it doesn't really matter. 3, 4, I'm just gonna do 4. And I like to make them bigger towards the end, and then as it gets closer to this side, we make them smaller. Depends on you. 5, right? And then we start erasing these guided lines, triangles. What triangles? Guided lines inside. See, now it's starting to look prettier. And then this is where we just start making harsher lines. I'm gonna erase this nose part because we're not doing that. So I just harshen up the lines just a tad bit, a lot of it, so I can know like what the actual image is that I'm doing. And this typically looks better if I ink it. Right now, it's just a drawing. We're not being too harsh on ourselves. Now, for the purpose of keeping this video short, I am going to show you what I would do after I'm done doing the lines and whatnot. And that's pretty much just, I add these lines right here to give it just a little bit more expression. Boop. Okay. So sorry if it looks kind of sloppy, but again, this is just a sketch. And then I like to draw like this one line right here, and it's like this other line right here, and it looks so good. And then if you would like, boop, and then there's another one right here, boop, give more emphasis, right? Then we have a line that connects right here. Right, and so like that's a great start on how to draw eyes, right? And then when it comes down to like shading, that's when we just go in and then we just start shading this way, right? So I will start kind of somewhere towards the middle of the eye, and then I start shading up, kind of rounded in a sense. So it's still a little bit light on this part of the eye towards the middle, and I usually shade like the outer edge. And then I also shave inside the pupil. Be careful not to like put it inside. Well, I typically don't put it inside that much, but you can. If I am to do it, I usually just do it at the top, like right here. All right, and then I try to shade this part. And look at that eye. That eye alone looks really good. And then I do the same thing here. I just kind of shade. It's kind of like I'm giving like the outside of this part, this glow, shading. And then like since, you know, if you would like to, you can also put some shade on the inside too, but at the very top though. And then that's how it looks. And then you can do whatever you want to with like the eyebrows and how you want to shade like the face and whatnot. I'll leave that all up to you guys. So thank you for joining me and watching this video. I hope that you learned something from here. I hope you took something away. And like, comment, and follow if you want to see more. Bye.